Hey everyone, welcome back to Corporate Decoder, the place where we decode the documents that Wall Street doesn't want you to read. Today, we're diving into CTS Corporation's latest 10K. And trust me, this report is a lot more exciting than it sounds, especially when you consider it involves supply chain disruptions and, get this, potential environmental liabilities. Buckle up, it's going to be a wild ride. Through financial filings, let's get started. CTS is a global company that makes sensors, connectivity components, and actuators. Think of them as the behind-the-scenes guys making sure your car knows how much gas you're giving it, or that medical equipment is running smoothly. They've been around since 1896, so they know a thing or two about electronics. The company has a vision to be a leading provider of sensing and motion devices as well as connectivity components, and they are aiming for an intelligent and seamless world, which sounds pretty cool. They talk about sense, connect, and move categories, and they have factories all over the world: North America, Asia, and Europe. Now let's talk money. The report breaks down their net sales by end market. Transportation is still a big deal, taking 49% of their sales in 2024, but it was 55% the year before. So it seems like transportation sales are dropping a bit. On the other hand, industrial is at 23% and medical is at 14%, with aerospace and defense at 14%. It seems like they're moving toward diversifying their revenue streams, so they're not reliant on a single industry. CTS uses its own sales engineers and distributors to get their products out there. Sales engineers are the bulk of their customer service channels, and they service some of the largest clients. These sales engineers also design application-specific products in partnership with those biggest clients. Like any manufacturing company, CTS needs raw materials: metals, ceramics, plastics, and especially some rare earth elements. They get these from a number of suppliers, some with limited availability, which means alternative sources are generally available but still a risk. CTS is all about protecting its ideas and is getting lots of patents. They got 21 patents in 2024 alone. They now own about 275 patents worldwide. Plus, they have trademarks protecting their brand. They rely on only a few major customers. Toyota is a big one, accounting for 12.2% of their net sales in 2024. Cummins, Inc. is another with 11.7%. Losing one of these big customers could really hurt their bottom line. CTS faces a lot of competition in the global market. They compete on price, quality, and technology. Some of their competitors are huge, and customers demand both lower costs and high quality, so they're facing a balancing act to both cut expenses and maintain standards. About 42% of their sales come from outside the US, but non-US operations bring risks like currency controls, changes in currency exchange rates, political risks, and government regulations. These are normal for global business, but are always a factor. The people at CTS are very important. They focus on building a good culture with play to win, responsiveness, simplicity, and solution-oriented guiding their values. They have programs to help their people grow and stay with the company, including leadership courses and mentorship programs. Safety for the company and its employees are a priority, with regular training and monitoring of their facilities. The CEO is Kieran O'Sullivan, who's been with CTS since 2013. They also have a VP and CFO, Ashish Agrawal, and several senior vice presidents such as Scott D'Angelo, Martin Baumeister, and Pratik Trivedi. All right, now let's dive into the risk factors. As with any 10K report, there's a lot of risks involved. The following are certain risk factors that could affect their business, financial condition, and operating results. I will just mention some of them, but the document is very descriptive about it all. First up, customer concentration risk. Because they get a big chunk of their revenue from a small number of clients, any drop in orders from these clients could have an adverse effect. Customers can also cancel orders, change production quantities, or just delay things due to external and internal factors. This can disrupt CTS operations and finances. Economic downturns are a massive risk, because a global or regional economic downturn could increase our future borrowing costs and impair our ability to access capital and credit markets necessary for our operations. The Russia-Ukraine conflict is also mentioned as a potential risk, even though they have no physical presence in Russia. Conflict could have a material adverse effect on their business, financial condition, results of operations, supply chain, availability of critical supplies, intellectual property, partners, or customers. Like most companies these days, supply chain issues and inflationary pressures are a major concern, and this could stop them from making scheduled shipments to customers. The supply and price of raw materials and electronic components can be affected by a number of factors beyond their control, including market demand, inflation, alternative sources for suppliers, global geopolitical events, global or regional disease outbreaks or pandemics, trade agreements among producing and consuming nations, and governmental regulations. A portion of the revenue comes from the sale of defense-related products, and the contracts may be suspended, canceled, or delayed, which could have an adverse impact on revenues. Government spending can be unpredictable, so that part is a very significant risk. CTS is subject to a lot of government regulations, especially environmental ones, and may be found to be in violation of EHS laws and regulations. The company has been notified by the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, state environmental agencies, and in some cases, groups of potentially responsible parties, that they are potentially liable for environmental contamination at several sites currently and formerly owned or operated by them. Changes in tax laws could cause some serious volatility. The current economic and political environment may result in significant tax law changes in the numerous jurisdictions in which they operate. Adverse changes in the underlying profitability and financial outlook of our operations in several jurisdictions could lead to changes in their valuation allowances against deferred tax assets and other tax accruals that could materially and adversely affect their results of operations. Uncertainty over global tariffs and trade policies, or the financial impact of tariffs and trade policies, may also negatively affect the company's results. Increased tariffs could require them to increase their prices, which could decrease demand for their products. Of course, they have a lot of risks about technology and data privacy because they are exposed to cybersecurity threats, incidents, or other disruptions to their information technology systems and data. Cyber attacks could have a disruptive effect on our business. Natural disasters or other catastrophic events could have a material adverse effect on their business and financial results, including the loss or disruption of the timely availability of adequate supplies of essential raw materials for us and our suppliers, including single-source suppliers. Okay, let's switch gears to the item about cybersecurity and the company's cybersecurity risk management strategy. The oversight of their cybersecurity risk is integrated into their enterprise-wide risk management process. And that process includes a cybersecurity strategy committee led by their vice president of IT and digitization. It's good that their audit committee is responsible for oversight of their cybersecurity strategy and risks, with their vice president of IT and digitization providing quarterly updates. All that is done to protect them from cybersecurity incidents which have not had a material impact on their business or financial condition, and expect that they will be subject to additional cybersecurity incidents in the future. CTS has a lot of properties all over the world, including manufacturing facilities, sales offices, and administrative offices in China, Czech Republic, Denmark, Mexico, Philippines, Poland, and Taiwan, and the United States. So they are wide-ranging. The report also gets real about financial projections, admitting they might not always be accurate due to various factors. But what were their financial results like recently? In 2024, net sales were about $515.8 million. That's down from $550.4 million in 2023. The sales decreased primarily because sales from transportation declined, so it's down a bit. Their gross margin also decreased, and net earnings were down 4% as well. However, their net cash from operating activities was up from the prior year, about $99 million. They also used a lot of cash from investing activities because they acquired CTS LLC, and that deal set them back about $122 million. They have access to a $400 million revolving credit facility, and about $91 million was outstanding at the end of 2024, and those loans have an average interest rate of 6.41%. Speaking of acquisitions, let's dig into those. They bought CTS LLC and Maglab AG, so their estimates of future performance are important for those recent acquisitions. As for their accounting, management makes a lot of estimates. Determining the fair value of assets acquired and liabilities assumed requires management's judgment and often involves the use of significant estimates and assumptions, including assumptions with respect to future cash inflows and outflows. Revenue growth rates, discount rates, customer attrition rates, asset lives, contributory asset charges, and market multiples, among other items. They take cybersecurity very seriously. The Vice President of IT and Digitization manages their cybersecurity program, and the Audit Committee is responsible for the oversight of their cybersecurity strategy and risks. Finally, they are very dependent on tax law, so they are keeping an eye on it. Changes to existing tax laws or the adoption of new tax laws could have a material adverse impact on their effective tax rate, future tax liabilities, and the ability to utilize deferred tax assets. Okay, that was a lot, so let's zoom out and look at what it all means. CTS Corporation seems to be navigating a tricky landscape. On one hand, they are doing well to diversify their portfolio, which is great, but they are facing challenges from global events and from individual business challenges that may or may not affect their bottom line. That makes them vulnerable to economic slowdowns and geopolitical tensions. Their customer concentration and heavy debt load are risks to keep an eye on. However, they are actively managing their key areas of business and have an effective handle of their operational and business segments. So if I were making investment decisions on this, it's a bit hard. If those risks work out, this might be a good play for the future, but investors will need to do their own research. Thanks for watching. If you found this breakdown helpful, give us a like, drop a comment, and subscribe for more deep dives into the world of corporate filings.